Hey there, welcome back to the A Plus. Today we're diving into the latest political drama in Canada. Prime Minister Trudeau's government is under pressure. And let me tell you, the opposition parties are circling like a pack of wolves. Kind of. We've got ultimatums, delayed votes, strategic posturing, all the good stuff. So let's break down what's happening and why this political showdown may or may not lead to an election. Ready? Let's get into it. All right. So first up, the Bloc Québécois. If you're not up on Canadian politics, just know that these guys are big on Quebec's interests. And they aren't exactly shy about making demands. Their leader, Yves Francois Blanchet, gave Trudeau's government a pretty blunt ultimatum. Pass these two bills by October 29. Yes, specific date and all. Or else.
One thing quite important is that between now and October 29th, we could come to the conclusion that they have not used the time being offered them to successfully go forward with the projects. And then we could know in 1 week or 3 weeks that it has become impossible. And as soon as it becomes impossible, we will know what to do with it.
Let's talk about these bills. The first one, Bill C319, would bump up old age security for seniors aged 65 to 74, basically putting more money in their pockets. The second bill, C282, aims to protect Quebec's dairy and poultry sectors. Because, Quebec's got some serious dairy pride. But here's the kicker. Even though the deadline's come and gone, Blanchette hasn't introduced a non-confidence motion yet. Why, you ask? Well, he'd need other parties on board. And right now, that's looking a bit shaky. So, no big showdown. Yet. Moving on to the Conservatives. Now, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, he's all about holding Trudeau's feet to the fire. He's been hammering on issues like inflation and the housing market, which, let's be honest, have Canadians pretty frustrated these days. So it might seem like he'd be the first one to introduce a non-confidence vote and try to push the government out.
I'm announcing that Common Sense Conservatives will put forward a non-confidence motion at the earliest possible opportunity. And I'm asking Jagmeet Singh and the NDP to commit unequivocally before Monday's by-elections. Will they vote non-confidence to bring down the costly coalition and trigger a carbon tax election? Or will Jagmeet Singh sell out Canadians again? Which will it be? It's put up or shut up time for the NDP.
But nope. Poilievre is actually delayed introducing another confidence vote. Yeah, you heard that right. He's holding off. Why? Well, he knows that a vote like this needs everyone on board, and that means getting the Bloc and the NDP to play along. Which, as you'll see in a second, is no easy feat. This delay isn't a sign of Poilievre going soft. It's a strategy move. He's probably waiting for the right moment to turn up the heat, hoping maybe a little public opinion shift will push the other parties in his direction. Alright, now let's talk about the NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh. They're kind of the wild card here. Singh has made it pretty clear he doesn't want to get too cozy with the Conservatives. Why? Well, the NDP has some big priorities in areas like social programs, healthcare, housing, you name it. And guess what? They aren't quite on the same page as the Conservatives there. Shocking.
Today motion, we will be tabling a motion calling for urgent action to expand access to abortion services. And that specifically means that Canada needs to enforce the Canada Health Act to ensure that people can get access wherever they are across the country. We know that these rights are precarious, and we have to remain vigilant to defend them. New Democrats are committed to defending not just the right, but access to that right.
So, The NDP's game plan is all about evaluating Liberal policies one by one. They aren't exactly lining up with the Conservatives, which makes things way trickier for Poilievre. And that means Trudeau's government gets a bit of a breather for now. And here's where it gets really interesting. Despite the criticism, Trudeau's government is still hanging on. The Liberals know how close they are to facing another election, so they have been pretty diplomatic with the other parties. Prime Minister Trudeau and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland have actually downplayed these threats from the Bloc and Conservatives.
I think we need to really take these assertions by the Conservative leader with a very healthy grain of salt. The reality is, in recent weeks and months, we have had a steady stream of good economic news for Canadians. We have had inflation within the Bank of Canada's target range for 7 months in a row, down to 2.5% in July. We have had interest rates coming down twice, and market analysts forecasting they are going to continue to come down. We have had wages outpace inflation for 18 months in a row. And the recession that so many economists, so many analysts were predicting at the height of COVID hasn't materialized. It looks like Canada is going to achieve a soft landing with the second fastest growth in the G7 this year and forecast to have the fastest growth in the G7 next year.
And if you think they're not taking this seriously, think again. Liberal House leader Karina Gould even hinted that they're in private talks with the Bloc. Yep, looks like they're trying to keep things smooth and avoid sending Canadians to the polls early. So where does that leave us? Well, right now, it's all about strategy, timing, and good old-fashioned political maneuvering. For a confidence vote to actually topple the government, all the opposition parties need to be in sync. And that's no small ask. When you've got the Bloc pushing for Quebec's interests, the NDP focused on social programs, and the Conservatives ready to bounce but waiting for the right time. Here's what to watch for. First, if Poilievre waits too long, he risks losing the momentum he's been building. Second, the Bloc's demands might be the tipping point for the Liberals if things don't get smoothed over in these private talks. And finally, pay attention to any public sentiment shifts. That could be the fuel Poilievre needs to rally the other parties. All right, folks, that's the latest on Canada's political standoff. Right now, the Liberal government may have dodged another bullet, but it's not in the clear. With everybody playing its own game, things could heat up fast, especially if Poilievre or Blanchet decide to go all in. So, what do you think? Are we headed for an early election? Or are these just political mind games? Let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on Canadian politics and more. Thanks for watching and see you next time.